My name is Mysonne. I'm a rapper and activist, a self-proclaimed raptivist.
Why did you choose your career path, and what are you passionate about?
I think my path chose me. You know, I always loved words. I started out doing poetry, and it was a way for me to express things that I was going through. And activism came after rap, being formerly incarcerated. While I was incarcerated, I started to realize how music was used, especially hip hop music, was used negatively to influence kids. And I'm realizing that a lot of people that I was incarcerated with were negatively influenced by music. So when I came home, I wanted to change the message. So my message started to change because my experience started changing. And then I remember the Trayvon Martin case. I was actually in Florida when they read the verdict for Zimmerman, and I think that pretty much pushed me to activism. It pushed me into that field. It made me feel like I had to stand up and utilize my voice to say something that was meaningful.
Are you working on any initiatives to improve the community in your field of expertise?
I've just started my organization called Raising Kings. So yes, I'm working on a new initiative. I'm also working with the Justice League NYC, which is an organization I've been working with for the last 6 years, in which we've introduced different policy bills. We worked on prison reform. We worked on raise the age. We've worked on getting certain politicians elected. So I've been very hands-on in the field of, just initiatives and especially things that impact marginalized communities.
Why is your field so important to the African American community?
I believe that my field is so important because mass incarceration affects us more than it does anybody else. We are locked up at higher rates than any other community. So in understanding why and how we are locked up, and understanding how the system actually targets people of color, black people mainly, it's important for us to talk about reform. It's important for us to talk about raising the age. Somehow they've criminalized children and made you believe that our children are more comfortable, more adept at crime than everybody else. And this is a narrative that's been painted. So prison reform for me is very dear to my heart. Being formerly incarcerated and wrongfully accused, understanding how people are sitting in prison for crimes they never committed. Some people will never come home with no evidence just because they didn't have proper representation. So when we roll back those layers and we look at prison reform and you look at how blacks and brown people are negatively impacted by that, you see that the system has been designed to keep us incarcerated. So that's why when I talk about prison reform and when I go out on these front lines and I talk about mass incarceration and police brutality, why I feel like it's so important for us to make sure that these changes are made.
How did you become introduced to the AADP?
Since I was a kid, it was always something that we did. We was going to the African American Day Parade. It was the day you would see some people that were famous. You would see the community just coming out. You see old ladies with their chairs on the side waving, and you just wanted to be out there to feel that energy. It's a staple in the black community, in Harlem. It's synonymous with Harlem. The African American Day Parade is synonymous with Harlem, and Harlem is such a birthplace to so much of our culture. So it's imperative, and it's so beautiful when you see African American Day Parade celebrated in Harlem. It's like the essence of black people in a place where black people culture has flourished.
What does it mean to be African American?
Being African American is beautiful. We have so many negative stereotypes and narratives that have been placed on us, but African American is a beautiful thing in itself, man. The creativity, the love, the energy of being an African American, just being African, period, just the essence of our soul is it symbolizes birth. It symbolizes life. You know, when you look at our culture from the beginning, there's so much attached to us. There's so much greatness attached to us. There's so much energy and positive energy and love and all that is good in the world is attached to African American people. So it's an honor for me to just be labeled as that. I was a Grand Marshal in the last 2018 parade. It was an honor. I was surprised. You know, you never feel it's such a beautiful thing to be rewarded and observed, especially when you just doing the right thing. But it's even more of a thing when you're honored by your culture, by your people. You know, so to be recognized and to be in the same parade as a marshal that I've watched at the side for so many years was just an honor for me, man. And it's something that I will always cherish.
What was that experience like for you?
It was beautiful, man. Just to be walking down the block with people that you love, with your people waving at you, just feeling the energy in Harlem it's unexplainable, man. It's like I said, when your people celebrate you, when your people are proud of you, and your people are lifting you up so that the world can see, it's unmatched by anything else that you can get. You know, like, you know, it's being a kid, being 4 and 5, running around the African American Day Parade, and watching and seeing people and like, look at such and such and waving, and now being that person that people are waving at, are happy to see. You know, it's just amazing.
This year is our 50th celebration. The theme is government politics. Who are some of your African American governmental political influences?
My African American political influence: Maxine Waters, Kamala Harris. I love Ross Barack. There are a few, you know, definitely Barack Obama. When you look at how far we've come in politics, and then you see people who come from where you come from, people who have the same story, it gives you hope. You know, I'm not gonna lie, there was years that I really didn't believe in politics. Politics didn't make sense to me because it wasn't nobody that I can identify with. Cory Booker, when you look at people of that mind state and that actually literally that you know have been through the same struggles that you've been through, it makes you feel more in tune with it. It makes you feel like this is somebody I can vote for because at least I know that they know what it is that I'm dealing with. You know, when in former political races and times, I never felt like any of the people represented me because I didn't feel like they even were able to identify with my reality. So every year now, there's one or more person that I can identify with, that I know at least, even if the laws don't get passed, they are able to identify and they're gonna make sure that they put there. You know, so slowly but surely, you know, politics are becoming something that we can have a little more faith in, slowly but surely.
How have these influences impacted or contributed to your life?
These influences have impacted me tremendously. You know, like I said, I never believed in politics. You know, so the work I do now is geared around being able to put the correct politicians in place to govern us, being able to force policy to be made. You know, and you able to force policy based on politicians that you know have your back, that really believe in justice, that understand what justice is for a black man. You know, a lot of people don't understand that justice for us is different for justice for other nationalities, and it's a reality. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's the reality is that blacks are incarcerated at higher rates. Blacks make less money in America. Blacks are killed at higher rates by police officers. So when we look at the statistics show that. So when we have people in office that are able to attest to that, have been victims of that, who have family members and friends, you know, they're more diligently working to make that not a reality. So that's impacted my life and my work a lot more.
How can you and your organization work together with the AADP to improve the African American community?
Me and my organization can always work with it. Anybody who wants change, we're willing to work with. And the African American Day Parade is something that is a staple in our community. And any ideas that I have that I think will make it bigger, any funders that I have that I think will want to contribute, that's what it's about. It's about us being there for us building for us. It's good we take donations. We're willing to embrace everybody, but long as they understand that this is our thing. That's what it is for us. When you look at the African American Day Parade, it is a day, it is a time that African Americans in New York are celebrating each other. We're celebrating our existence, we're celebrating our culture, we're celebrating everything about us. So we embrace anybody that wants to come and celebrate with us, but understand that it's our celebration. So if I can contribute to that in any way, I would love to.
Why is an event like the AADP important for the community?
Because the event like the AADP is important for the community because it gives you a sense of pride. You get to see your people in a higher light. There's so much negative visions of us on the media, social media, that sometimes you forget that we are judges and that we're politicians and that we are entrepreneurs and that we create culture, and we forget that. And it's good when you see these young kids able to step outside of their doors that live in Harlem and see that right on the street where they live. It gives you something to aspire to. It gives you hope and belief in yourself. When you see positive images, you can't be it if you can't see it. So being able to see something positive about you and your culture is a beautiful thing and very important.
Will you be participating in the upcoming AADP?
I will participate in each and every AADP that they have, as long as I'm alive and I'm here.
How important is it to support the AADP, either volunteerism, services, or monetarily?
It is imperative to support the AADP, especially being a person of color, being a black man, being a black woman. It's supporting yourself. That's what we have to get back to that. Unfortunately, other communities support theirs. We have to see the necessity. We have to see it as imperative. We have to see it as something that must be done that we support. If you have anything that you can support, your time, your money, your energy, if you use your social media to bring awareness to it, all support is necessary for anything that we do. I'm a very big advocate for us supporting our own and making sure that you donate, you lift, because things don't just happen by osmosis. The people that we have and being able to run these organizations, they don't just happen. So for some reason, we have this mentality that if it's about us, we shouldn't have to participate. We shouldn't have to donate it. That everything should be free, but that's not reality. The reality is that work comes into it, and people need to be paid for the services they work. Food is supplied, and we have to buy food. There are people who are doing a job that need to be paid. Why do we have no problem paying other communities for their services, but we want things from us for free? It's a warped mentality, and I think that we have to get out of that. If we have something to give, whatever it is, give, because it comes back. It's about you. It makes you look better. It supports you. So it's so imperative that we give whatever we can to the AADP.
Anything else you want to add?
I just want to have, it was an honor to be a part of the parade. It's an honor to be able to speak about the parade. It is an honor to represent my people in a fashion in which they seem pleased with. It's an honor to be celebrated. It's an honor to be loved. It's an honor to be a part of a community and a culture that is so rich and beautiful in spirit, in history, and in everything. So thank you for having me, and thank you for this parade, because it is a staple in our community and it's so necessary.